so official.
Hey, Kathy and Caroline. I recognize you too.
Hi, y'all.
Hey.
Hey, great to see you.
All right, everyone. I'm Jean. I work for Blue Stoop. This is Wednesday on the Stoop. It's a weekly program. We have 3 more in July coming up. So I hope that y'all can join us for those as well. We're gonna let people trickle in for the next couple of minutes. But just so everyone knows, the meeting is being recorded so that we can eventually put it up on our YouTube channel. And I'm gonna put it in the chat just so if anyone joins us like halfway through the session, they're aware of what's happening. I'm so glad that y'all can join us.
Hi, Sam.
Hey, Caroline. It's great to see some familiar faces and some people I don't know as well. Yeah, thanks so much for joining me.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, really. Is it okay, you think, if I take it away?
Yeah, we don't have anyone else in the waiting room. I am going to be letting people in throughout the session if they enter. So just be prepared for new faces to pop up.
Sounds great. All right. Well, hi, everybody. My name is Sam Fischer. I'm a poet. I'm from Philadelphia, although I'm actually zooming in from Cambridge because I'm moving up to go for a 1-year Master's of Education program at Harvard, which is really exciting. It's about how people learn. And hopefully you all learned something new today. And if you have any feedback about my facilitation skills, I'm all ears for that because I'm all about learning. In fact, I can see one of my classmates here, Maggie. Hello, Maggie. Thank you for joining. We're just getting started with intros. So I was thinking if we could actually go around, and I am really glad that we only have 12. So if more show up, don't tell them that. But it's fun because we get to just learn a little bit more about each other, which I really enjoy, and build like a little bit of a poetry community. So if you all, I think what I'll do is maybe call your names out so it kind of goes through an order. And if you could tell me your name, pronouns, where you're from, and what brought you here today, that would be great. And I can even put that in the chat. Name, pronoun, where you're from, and what brought you here today. Okay, so I'll start with Amy Beth. Amy Beth, would you like to lead us off?
Sure. Hi, I'm Amy Beth. I'm she, her. I'm here from Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, and I've been doing quite a few of these Wednesdays on the Stoop, and they're fabulous. Thank you, Blue Stoop. And your topic looked great.
Oh, thank you, Amy. And yes, thank you, Blue Stoop, for making this possible. Kathy, would you like to take us next?
Sure, thanks, Sam. Hi, I'm Kathy, she, her. I live in Wynwood, west of the city. And my first time at a Blue Stoop event, and I wanted to see you, Sam, and learn from you. So thanks.
Thanks, Kathy. We'll learn from each other. Caroline, would you like to go next?
Yeah, Sam and I are pals from Toho Publishing. We were, we published chapbooks together, and I've been following him ever since.
Yeah, love your writing and your art, Caroline. Fern, would you like to go next?
Sure. I'm Fern Glazer, she, her, and I am a writer. I mostly write things short fiction, and working on pursuing a children's picture book career. Not a poet, but I was attracted to the idea of the moment. And of course, children's picture books and short fiction have a lot of lyricism and poetry to them. So can only help.
That sounds great. Yeah.
And I'm in Philadelphia.
Wonderful. I'm excited to hear what you write and also maybe look at it another time too. Navneet, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, Sam. I think we met at Kelly Writers once.
Yes.
We were talking about that med students little writing workshop. So I was in Penn then, but I'm in California now, and I loved your topic. So just like Amy, so I decided to join today. It's hard. I'm taking a break from work. I've shut my door. I want to join this. Of course, it's 1 p.m. here, so it's work time, but I'm excited. Thank you, Sam.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for joining us. And we're coast to coast.
And I write poetry, and I'm so sorry. I write essays mostly, and I'm a novice poet. So yeah.
That's great. That's great. Maggie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Maggie. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm also in California, in Los Angeles. Yeah, and I love writing. I love poetry, and I've been to a couple of in-person workshops and felt like it was just such a good vibe, and I was a great experience. So I'm excited for today.
Nice. Thanks for joining. Cleo?
Hi, I got here because I'm in a workshop with actually Catherine Petruccelli, and I was talking to her about the line. I was like, I'm really struggling with what I want to do with my lines and what makes up a line in poetry. And then she sent me this link and she said, why don't you try this? You might like it.
That sounds awesome. Opportunities to talk about that for sure. And I know 2 weeks from now, there's another poet coming on for Blue Stoop's Wednesdays on the Stoop that's going to really focus on lines. So more on that to come down the pipe as well. Gerald, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, yeah, I'm Gerald. You can use whatever pronouns. I currently live in Philadelphia. Moved here recently, and so I'm here to find out more about Blue Stoop. I was part of a writing community in Jersey City when I lived there, and I'd like to continue doing that. So yeah, this is my first experience with Blue Stoop.
I think you're in the right place. Blue Stoop is great for connecting to lots of different literary organizations in Philly, in addition to being a very good self-sustaining community itself. All right, now the rest don't have videos on, but I will still call on you. The teacher in training that I am. Courtney, are you able to introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, I am. I'm just not feeling well today, so I have my camera off. I'm a poet based out of Philadelphia, PA. My pronouns are she, her, and they're my name. And yeah, I come to Blue Stoop Wednesday on the Stoops frequently, and I was interested in the topic, so I came to this one.
Awesome, thank you. And Molly?
Hi, sorry, my internet is really lagging, so I took the video off. My name is Molly. I go by she, her. I'm new to Philadelphia, just relocated from Florida about 6 months ago, within like the last 6 months. This is my very first Blue Stoop Wednesday workshop. I'm really excited to be here, and I just came across Blue Stoop, so I'm excited to dive in. Thank you.
Congrats. It's a great writer community in Philadelphia. And I know that in part because Josh Martin is here, who also helps facilitate community among writers. Josh, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello all, Josh Martin, he, him. I am a friend of Sam's, coming here to support and learn from him, one of my favorite writers in Philadelphia and the world. And a huge fan of Blue Stoop and the work they do. Blue Stoop and Green Street Poetry, the organization I'm a part of, share a lot of members. So I love to see the work that they do all the time. So good to meet everyone.
Cool. And Sophia?
Hi, sorry for being a little late. I am joining from Puerto Rico, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. And I'll be doing a master's in education in the fall. And I love writing, but I've only published one thing. I would like to publish more. So I'm here for the community and the conversation and the creativity. So thank you for inviting me, Sam.
Definitely in the right place. That's awesome. How about Jan?
I'm going to read Jan's. She preferred
Oh, great.
not
Thank you so much.
speaking. So Jan uses she/her pronouns. She writes mostly poetry, but she has written a couple short stories. She lives in Philly, and she went to another Wednesday on the Stoop and was intrigued by this topic.
Oh, awesome.
Welcome, Jan.
Welcome, Jan. And I can see Monica's as well. She's listening in at the moment as she commutes, she, her, hers, and she's always enjoyed writing when she's been assigned to do it, but wants to get back into do it for fun and to express thoughts to share with others first time here. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you all so much for joining and sharing a little bit about yourself. I'll do the same. My name is Sam. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm originally from Ballackinwood, which is a suburb of Philadelphia, in Montgomery County. And I am currently in Boston, actually, moving on for a one-year master's program. And what brought me here today was a local newsletter called Sit and Write for Philadelphia, which I know Navneet knows about. It's just like a group, yes, and Amy Beth and Fern as well. Great newsletter. Julian Schendelman runs it, and great opportunity to learn about events in Philadelphia and also just to sit and write. They do that every Saturday for like 2 or 3 hours. It's super productive, and he's a really, really sweet person. So that I saw the application and just thought, well, I would love to do this. And then this topic hit me like a thunderbolt, and I thought, boy, this would be really great just to take a moment and appreciate things. So I think where I will start is just giving you all a little overview of my basic idea, and then we'll do some reading, and then we'll do some writing, and then we'll do some sharing. And I'm glad Kathy Cullen is on this call because I am borrowing this format from her from a poetry workshop series that she ran in spring of 2020 when COVID was first hitting, that I found to be very generative. So thank you, Kathy. So the general idea of this is really from a quote of Abraham Joshua Heschel's, who is a rabbi in the 1900s, Polish born, but worked a lot in America. That at night in the soul, all moments look alike, and that, there are these times of despair when everything just seems to merge together and seem undistinguishable. And it caught me particularly that the reverse is also true, that there are moments where we appreciate everything to be as individual and different as it really is, and that there is an incredible preciousness that seems to arise out of that sensibility of seeing things for truly how ephemeral, unique, small they really are, is a wonderful feeling. And I think it's a feeling that many poets capture. And it's linked to so much else in life about loss, love, value, appreciation, what's rare, what's common. So it just seemed like such a salient thing for us to talk about in poetry. And as I was looking for examples, I found ones that crossed a lot of borders and boundaries in terms of identities and time. So I thought that, maybe reading would be a good place for us to start. So let me just go ahead and share my screen. So just for our warm up, we have 4 poems today. 3 are short, and then 1 is longer. And this longer one, it touches on many moments in time, but it is just so fluid and also so stable in time that I thought it would be really, really interesting to talk about as well. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and put myself on gallery. I'm also going to open up the chat. Oh, great. Thank you, Jan and everyone for responding to chat. Would anyone like to read one of these poems? I was thinking we could read 2 or 3 of them, probably read them twice, hear them, and then just have a little conversation to start to get our poetry minds turning about what's happening in these poems that we like. How do we relate them back to this kind of prompt about thinking about things as being individualized versus the same? And also a bit of a sensual nature to things as well, you know, noticing the sights, the sounds, the smells, and the tastes. Let's see. Do we have any volunteers to read, and can everyone also see my screen? And feel free to just go off mute and say, I want to read, if you want to read.
I'm happy to start, Sam.
Great, go for it.
Richard Wright, Black US poet of the mid-1900s. His poem. In the falling snow, a laughing boy holds out his palms until they are white.
Thank you so much. Would someone like to read that one again for us so we could hear it in a second voice?
I will.
Go for it, Caroline.
Richard Wright, Black US poet of mid-1900s. In the falling snow, a laughing boy holds out his palms until they are white.
Oh, I love it. Now, does anyone want to read another poem that we have? We've got Tommy Chikako, as well as two others, and this last one is the longer one, but it is quite good, I think. Yes, go for it, Kathy.
Okay, Jisami Chikako, medieval Japanese poet from the 1300s. On this summer night, all the household lies asleep, and in the doorway, for once open after dark, stands the moon, brilliant, cloudless.
I love that. That's great. Anyone want to read that one again? Just give it another voice.
Sure.
Great. Thank you, Amy.
On this summer night, all the household lies asleep, and in the doorway, for once open after dark, stands the moon, brilliant, cloudless.
Man, that's great. And to wrap us up, would anyone like to pick between this excerpt from a poem by Sonia Sanchez and this longer one by Michael Torres?
I'd like to read the longer one.
Yes, great. And I will scroll with you to make sure that that is possible. Go for it.
My Brother is Asking for Stamps by Michael Torres, contemporary Latinx US poet. And photos of me and my new wife. He's asking for pictures of the wedding. He's very sorry he couldn't make it. He can't wait to meet her. My brother is asking if I can call a warehouse office in Albuquerque and tell them Ray this. Oh,
You got it. I'll zoom in a little bit.
His Sealy is fine, and that Ray would like his old job back one day, if possible. My brother is asking for paper, asking for postage stamps, and for a few dollars on his J-Pay. It's June, it's July. He says it's not so bad in here. Says he's not getting institutionalized, won't get institutionalized, not like the others. He has TV, he reads a lot. My brother is asking for book 5, 6, or 12 of the Women's Murder Club series.
So sorry. That is technology for you. Okay, here we go. We're back at it.
It's May, it's March, it's May, it's October. Happy Halloween, brother. He's asking again for postage stamps, telling me he might be programmed, sure, but who isn't? We all need routine, he says. That one time, after chow, they let the guys stay out a little longer, and the guys looked at each other like, why aren't we being locked down again, or yet? My brother says he's a confused mouse sometimes. Sometimes he won't go out for rec. Can't stand the fact that it's going to end. It's June. It's July. Happy birthday, brother. My brother is asking for stamps. He's ending every letter with a cartoon of himself, all homeboyed out, even though he wasn't like that before. It's like he's grown an extra life in there, and the him I grew up knowing is closed until not this August. I know I shouldn't imagine him this way, but I will always be younger and looking up. That's my brother. He's asking for stamps. Outside, the leaves have turned without notice. It is the week when every walnut seems to be falling from the sky, and every time I drive home, I run as many over as possible. It's June. Happy birthday. It's November. My brother says he'll write when he can. He knows I'm busy. Everyone's busy. It's August. It's August, and he's looking for stamps.
Ooh, thank you, Cleo. Ah, great. It's a long one, but it's a goodie. All right, and I may take the second reading just for myself because I like it so much. Hope you all do not mind. My brother is asking for stamps by Michael Torres, a contemporary Latinx U.S. poet. My brother is asking for stamps and photos of me and my new wife. He's asking for pictures of the wedding. He's very sorry he couldn't make it. He can't wait to meet her. My brother is asking if I can call a warehouse office in Albuquerque and tell them Ray, his cellie, is fine, and that Ray would like his old job back one day, if possible. My brother is asking for paper, asking for postage stamps, asking for a few dollars on his JPay. It's June. It's July. He says it's not so bad in here. Says he's not getting institutionalized, won't get institutionalized, not like the others. He has TV. He reads a lot. My brother is asking for book 5, 6, or 12 of the Women's Murder Club series. It's May, it's March, it's May, it's October. Happy Halloween, brother. He's asking again for postage stamps, telling me he might be programmed, sure, but who isn't? We all need routine, he says. That one time, after chow, they let the guys stay out a little longer, and the guys looked at each other like, why aren't we being locked down yet? My brother says he's a confused mouse sometimes. Sometimes he won't go out for rec, can't stand the fact that it's going to end. It's June, it's July. Happy birthday, brother. My brother is asking for stamps. He's ending every letter with a cartoon of himself, all homeboyed out, even though he wasn't like that before. It's like he's grown an extra life in there. And the him I grew up knowing is closed until not this August. I know I shouldn't imagine him this way, but I will always be younger and looking up. That's my brother. He's asking for stamps. Outside, the leaves have turned without notice. It's the week when every walnut seems to be falling from the sky, and every time I drive home, I run over as many as possible. It's June. Happy birthday. It's November. My brother says he'll write when he can. He knows I'm busy. Everyone's busy. It's August. It's August, and he's looking for stamps. Ooh. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so I was thinking just, hopefully that's gotten your wheels turning a little bit, but it's always good to hear from others about, what we see, because so often we notice things that other people don't, and other people notice things that we don't. So was there anything in those 3 poems that we read that really called out to you in particular? Could be about the sounds, the images, the prompt, the way they talked about time.
Yeah, I would say that in the last one, the long one, I think in some ways, besides the months, I thought the passage of time, the way that the writer not only gave us, the sort of repetition of the months, but as the poem, continued down, we sort of felt this shift and change in the relationship between the two. And so we can kind of see time passing in that way as well as in the months.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
In the one that I read, the second one, the for once open after dark.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yeah.
The uniqueness of the moment, you know, that we close our doors at night.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, this one really held me like still in the moment, which I thought was special. It was like I could see the moon, and that last image is just kind of staring at me like a moon coming through, brilliant and cloudless, you know, just so still, but just for a moment, which is so special.
I like what they say, stands the moon. The moon doesn't really stand, but using it here in the doorway, it is standing, and it has another presence than it does in the sky looking up at it.
Wonderful, wonderful. There's like a very subtle personification that's going on with stands in the doorway.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, yes. And I love how you said presence, like it gives it this kind of imminence to it. Yeah, wonderful.
I really love the Richard Wright poem because it I don't know how to describe it. It poses the question of race in such a beautiful and natural way. Like, what is white and black? The boy is laughing. The snow is turning his hands white, and the colors are all. Nature has all colors, and it says so much in such a simple and beautiful image about how insane the separation is.
And I think like a lot of haiku poems, there are many different emotions to read in this just little thing. You know, there's joy, there's poignancy, there's innocence, there is the cold also. Is he getting cold? Yeah. It's, just, and without putting any extra commentary over it, seemingly, he really creates something that feels so substantial and meaningful in many ways.
Also, he does not say that the boy has black hands.
It's true.
He does not say that.
I was going to add to that, if you didn't know that the author was African American.
Many people perhaps do not know that Richard Wright was black.
Right. It's part of the tension, I think. And also, and this is not immediately relevant to the prompt, but it's just so exciting that, like, you know, I think many things in life are very contextual. And so it's where do you read this and what information is around it that helps you interpret it and create meaning out of it. And we love to think of poems as having essences and seeds and, you know, like they erupt, you know, the same image in front of all of us. But so often it is where we place it and what's around it that really matters. And so for me, you know, foregrounding this information about Richard Wright certainly puts a different perspective into the poem. Yeah. All right, well, I don't want to cut too much into our writing time. And I tried my best to not make prompts that were too abstract, and I may have failed. So let me just read through these for you all before I set you out for 20 minutes of writing that you can take in any direction you want. But I did want to just give you some ideas to run with. So if you have a pencil with you, just, I would say, jot down whatever comes up for you, and I'll also place these in the chat too. So here are 3 ideas about where to go from here in these next 20 minutes. And I wrote these with poets in mind, but I think the last one that we just read by Torres, for me, read like lucid prose. It was so sweet. It was like right in that sweet spot for me between prose and poetry. And I think that you can take these in a lot of different directions as well, even essays. So here are 3 prompts. first off, and this might seem like a little bit of a tangent, but what's something that you value about yourself that others don't always see? And then consider what's something valuable about the place you're in or a moment you've had in your day that you or others might have overlooked. And can you write a poem that illuminates what's in you and what's outside of you that is both valuable and unseen? Again, thinking about something inside of yourself that maybe others don't always see, but that you value. And then something in the place that you're in or a moment that you've had that's valuable that might also be overlooked. And can you bring these two things together in a poem? You know, there's further things to consider about using couplets to weave these two ideas together, and maybe doing it with rhyme. More challenges in case you need structure. The second prompt is this idea that we are always changing. Again, trying to think about uniqueness and particularity. Pick a moment from your recent everyday life and consider how you would see this very moment differently if you were in a different time in your life. This could be just hours or minutes apart from today. You know, how would I view this 15 minutes from now, 30 minutes ago, when I was hungry, when I was tired? You know, it could be days or weeks or years or decades, before or after the present. And it'll help, I think, give you a sense of how who we are affects what we see. And how, because we always change, that means that our world is always different to us. And the reverse can also help. You could recall a moment, maybe the present, and imagine this world that we're in just 15 minutes before or 15 minutes after, or an hour before, an hour after. I'm sitting in a hotel room. You know, an hour before, was there cleaning staff in here? What was their experience like? What is the experience of this place before this building was here? You know, all that. And what is it going to be after I'm gone? And then you can think of seasons as well, flowers in bloom, animals back, people in your life that are here or not here, or maybe will be coming into your life if you really want to get a little into the future. For this one, for more structure, you could think about haikus. You can count syllables or not. You could focus on short lines. You could include seasons, senses, multiple emotions. You could do a sequence of them. They don't have to address each other. You know, 1 is this stanza, 2 is this stanza, 3 is this stanza. And you could go the opposite direction. You could write a long, beautiful stream of consciousness that's very lucid and crosses between before, present, and afterwards, like the poem that we read by Torres. And for the third one, I just wanted to ask you, what's on your calendar? What's happening this week that is in some way completely new? And what made you do this new thing? How did it come about? And what does it look like if you talked about it as part of a larger change in your life, or contrasted it with something larger happening in the world? And if you want more structure, could you write a poem that takes the form of a planner with like a little timestamp at the top, maybe running through a day, or a calendar running through a month, or a calendar running through a year? And maybe this pulls from many moments of your life, and maybe it's all contained in one small set of time. And if you're looking for even more structure, see if you can find a motif, whether it's an image, a sound, or a sense that takes itself across those moments. A little bit like the postage stamps, my brother, his birthday, like we saw in the Torres poem. Okay, well, that is plenty. That may be too much. There's also some tools about being concrete. I think I will leave it to you all and what you already know. There is no right or wrongs here, and I will convene us back at about 4:50-ish, 4:55-ish, so that we can just share what we've learned and some of our reflections before we go. Feel free to go off camera. I will be putting myself on mute. You can chat me if you have any questions. I'll be responsive to that, and enjoy. All right, everybody, we're gonna start to come back. Just wrap up your sentences or stanzas. Put a little scribble where you want to keep going. It's always good to do these after I assign them. I'm glad that we had 20 minutes because I felt like I needed kind of like I had an idea and I needed a pass and then another pass and another pass, and I started to get it. All right. Well, we're coming back one by one. Does I kind of have two questions for the group. One is an invitation that if anyone wants to share anything that they wrote, floor is yours. And then the other one, which I will kind of encourage more, is to just share something that you learned through this process or something that you want to take away from this workshop as you move forward. I think that's something that we can all do because it helps us to think about, I just spent an hour here. Even if I'm just taking away a positive memory, what positive memory do I want to take away? And floor is yours, the writers and artists here. So you can raise your hand and I can call on you, or you can just go off mic, sharing something that you wrote or something that you liked, that you learned. Yes, Caroline, go for it.
It is as it should be. An apricot falls onto your path as a red bird calls for another bird, distracting you with sound and color. You squish the slippery fruit underfoot. Looking up to see a restive monkey sail from limb to roof, you stumble on a paver, and lying there after your little tumble with a packed with planets sky in view, you wonder if all of this is for you as you savor flowers and stars winking at each other.
That's wonderful that you can do that in 20 minutes, Caroline. That's great. I love that. That was so rich with images. Thank you. Yeah. Gerald, I see you've got your hand up. Thank you.
Sure. So I'll take my hand down. Sunglass was shattered in the wild crowns of trees, crying autumn as the path wound us up a hill off the Catskills to your home. I didn't want to see your blood rush father or etiquette mother. As you laughed, jewels floated from your mouth up to nest in the crooks of trees, yellow quartz, goldfinch, persimmons. I didn't tell you what I saw before you said it's a beautiful day. And when I saw you up the hill steps ahead of me, you eclipsed my vision, and I needed to mark you from my lips.
I love the resonance also between your poem and Caroline's of these trees and like birds and fruits. That's so cool that we are having a little bit of that. And thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Anyone else, something that you've learned or maybe something that you wrote, doesn't even have to be a whole line. And thank you, Jan Claire. Yes, and thanks to Jean for doing this. We also had Sophia who had to leave and Kathy who had to leave early for meetings. Josh, you said you'd be happy to share. I will gladly call on you to share.
Sure. Yeah, I like the first prompt. I didn't think of a title, but in a dim space, I show you my insides so you know that it is safe to be uncovered. Casting slow blinking scans like cats do to signal their intention. Encouraging the lowering of shoulders, the unclenching of bellies and breaths. I am at your door asking for you, hanging up before the tone to try again while weathering rejections. I scour for your goodness. I polish it with tears.
Wow, thank you, Josh.
And I wanted to mention that one of the things that I learned, there's a line in there, I think it was the second poem, with the medieval Japanese poet, where he describes the moon as cloudless. And I like, with short poems, I always really, really like to read into every word choice. And when it comes to choosing to describe something based on what it is lacking or what it is not, as opposed to what it is, I think provides context that you can't accomplish with those sort of 4-line poems. And I find myself doing that a lot in my writing, and then wagging the finger at myself because I don't give people the benefit of the doubt to spend enough time with it to sort of see that. But I think that I should stop doing that. I think that as I meet more poets, I find more generous audiences and communities, as opposed to the way that I feel when I submit somewhere. Yeah, I appreciate the context and the obviously context of the people here. So thanks all.
I liked your poem a lot, Josh.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for taking us right to a single word and cloudless, and saying how that brings in so much while also leaving things clear, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, Christy, yeah, please go ahead and read a section of yours.
This is the what's new question. I have bought the suit, 2 pieces, one that ties in the back, one ties in the front. The clothing to wear to get wet, because in America we dress to swim. The clothes for the water are not easy. Something I wear to propel myself forward that won't also fall down. Something that might seem fun, even sexy on land, whatever that is. And the cover up to pretend we are not wearing very little, and to hide from the sun while drinking her heat.
Thank you, Christy. Love that. Very clever tie in the front, tie in the back. Suits to wear while going in water. I was just at the beach for the 4th, so it's very resonant. All right, well, we are really at the end of our hour, and I'm sure there's a lot more that we could talk about. Thank you all so much. This was really lovely, really wonderful. Again, Blue Stoop is running these every Wednesday. They are free. The next one is going to be about reality TV shows and writing poems about them. And then the one after that is about lines and line work. And yeah, I was going to say, please, I'm going to go ahead and put my email in the chat. And I encourage other people to put whatever Instagram handles, blogs, mediums, etc., that you use to communicate with other writers. It's great to build a little community, and you can also build community by just coming back or sharing, swapping messages and that kind of thing. And I'm happy to read poems. I love poems. I like just reading. So yeah, so great to see everybody. Thank you for all the familiar faces and all the new ones.